I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out, you know, anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need, I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The City of Houston, HPD, Fire Department, everyone to, help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. And I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
Couldn't breathe. You couldn't feel like we was like literally like in fucking hell, bro. Like it felt like we was in a concert in hell. You couldn't breathe. You couldn't see. Like just imagine all the people they gonna find tonight who was in that crowd, who nobody could see, who nobody could hear, who passed out, and everybody was just trampling on top of them the whole fucking concert. Like I'm thinking it's probably gonna be like at least 100 people who dead tonight. Like I kid you not. Like in the VIP section, it was so many bodies laid out. People was getting pulled out who was fainted. And the medics were trying to give them CPR, and they was flipping them over, and like they was literally turning black and blue. Like I never seen death in my fucking life, bro. Just by me alone, it was probably like 10 fucking people laid out dead. And like once the medics tried to help them, they wasn't responding. They moved to the next person. It was nothing they could do. Like this shit really fucked me up and like really spooked me tonight. Like that was like some demonic shit. Like, and what was so crazy, like people were screaming help, trying to tell Travis Scott. They was like help. The whole crowd was just going like help, help, help. And he just kept going, bro. It was like, that shit was scary, bro. It was so demonic, bro. And mind you, y'all see the type of music I make. Y'all see everything. Like, like I've been so heavily influenced by Travis, but like after tonight, bro, like God really showed me, like, like, stay away from that shit, bro. Like, that shit not for you. Because, like, he sacrificed so many people's lives tonight, like, for real. Like, so many people's lives are gone tonight because they want to go to a fucking Travis Scott concert and have fun. He influenced people to be raging and all this shit. So many people broke in, and it was just chaos, bro. It was a living fucking hell, bro. Imagine seeing all those dead bodies, and that was just by me.
That's okay with you, real quick. Chase me, let's do it. Lost on oxygen and boat cars. Bring your girl, feel like she both bars. Some black nigga run to the ocean. So far we here, trapped on the ocean.
Travis Scott did nothing, just watched. Travis Scott does not care about his fans. Travis Scott sings as he watches security carry away one of his fans' lifeless body.
Travis Scott fans not caring or helping the injured people.
Into the whole Halloween thing, basically Hallows Eve is just like any other tradition that they deal. That's the European tradition, but all across the world, they even in Mexico and in parts of Asia, parts of India, and even in Africa, they always have what is called a Day of the Dead. The dead also represents the Day of the Ancestors, but it also represents the underworld, the hollow earth. The underworld. Now, it's not necessarily in metaphysics talking about a realm that's up under the earth, but it's talking about a realm in literally another dimension. That's the ancestral realm. And so every culture has a Day of the Dead, or the this Hallows Eve in Europe. That's the European form of the Day of the Dead, dealing with that particular ancestral aspect. It becomes a little more elaborate, you know, with the ghouls and the goblins and all this type of stuff. But still, yet that's the basis of this. So this is a very important day if you understand and read behind the lines in the particular aspect that we honor the realm, the ancestral realm. Give you an example of how we've been spooked out based on Christianity. I have a skull in my living room stuck inside a black pot. So when people come in, they automatically spooked out about it. Now, over the years, some of the meanings of these things have been lost based on time. But the practitioners still keep up to the tradition of those particular customs, although the real meaning could be lost in time. And that's what happens a lot of times. Then other cultures come in, and because they don't know the real meaning, because some of the practitioners might not know the real meaning, they all relegate all this stuff into evil, a superstition, or bad. 98% of things on the planet, we'll always remember this, 98% of everything that we call evil is basically a misunderstanding based on time and historical ignorance. So what you would have is, you would have a certain tradition, and that tradition would thrive in the land, and everybody would know the meaning. But hundreds of years would pass, sometimes thousands of years would pass, and then what would happen here is you would have later generations that would come in and not understanding the original meaning of something. And by them not understanding the original meaning, they'd automatically in history relegate it over to evil, or relegate it over to bad. You see what I'm saying? Or relegate it over to taboo or forbidden. So this skull, what is the meaning of the skull that you see? A skeleton with bones that is in voodoo culture, Palo culture, and in different types of religious culture. that later on is relegated into evil, especially in African culture. The skull, the bones, and the whole 9 yards. But even in the Halloween we talk about, what would be the meaning? Well, the ancients used to understand that they would have to pay homage to the ancestors. Now, what is an ancestor? An ancestor is someone that is no longer living on the planet. So if they're no longer living, that means that their physical body has decayed based on death. So the bones represent the physical decayed body of the ancestors. In so many words, the bones literally becomes an emblem or a symbol just for ancestors. It's as simple as that. But the spookism comes in it when we don't understand these things. And then we get Hollywood and we get all this taboo mythology that comes in and explain that this is evil. So automatically the mind automatically accepts things as being evil when you don't understand it. Thus we have the same thing with religions. One man's God is another man's religion. One man's God, is another man's devil. So what you would have here is the same thing in religions. These religions come and things become evil. And things become evil because the prior practitioners of those particular systems somehow fell into obscurity. And the latter people did not understand it. So therefore, things get relegated into degradation and even in meaning. So Rudolf Steiner, one of the occultists, even goes far as to say that religion itself comes about when vast cultures fall and lose the advanced idea of education and spirituality. What is left is splinters and pieces and fragments, and that's all lumped into religion. And religion is mostly political, dealing with moralism. Has very little to do with spirituality and the practitioners of the divine laws of the earth and manipulating the forces of the earth through ritual, which is magic, which is science. It has very little to do with that. Religions are based on political, behavioral modification and moral code mostly, with a little bit of sprinkles of some forms of mysticism that's thrown in to make it seem divine. But it's only fragments of greater systems of education and spirituality. True spirituality, most people think is evil, just by the mere fact that you're practicing something on a higher level, and it takes a little more work than sitting down begging and praying. You see what I'm saying? And because you were trained in a tradition as a child in a religion and they call it spiritual, you automatically think that spirituality is what you've been getting all these years, which is moral code and a little bit of inspirational ceremony to make you feel a certain way. True spirituality has very little to do with moralism, very little to do with human behavior. True spirituality is tracking the spiritual realm that is unseen and manipulating the forces to bring about results in the physical. The preacher talks about having faith in the unseen, and the only reason why you have to have faith is because you don't have education in it. You don't have gnosis, knowledge in it. So there is a difference. This is the basis of metaphysics. This is the basis of occultism. The word occult just means that which is hidden. That which is hidden. So that's basically, but going back to Halloween and these festivals, this is our form of the festivals that you have This is a national form or a European form of the festivals that you would have in South America, in the Caribbean, in New Orleans, where they have festival or carnival or carnival. Where you would have, in New Orleans, they have the carnival, they have a Day of the Dead. You see. All this stuff can reach back to Africa and the ancient civilizations. You see what I'm saying? And basically, you have that particular aspect in Hallows Eve. And then you have All Saints Day the next day. All of this stuff is nothing but American version of the carnival. This watered down into mamby-pamby, going out and getting candy and little ghouls and goblins and jack-o'-lanterns and stuff, so the American psyche can take it. You see what I'm saying? Because the American psyche can't take anything out of religion, because the religion says you're going to hell. You see what I'm saying? You're going to hell just by thinking of anything outside of being a good, obedient child. So in so many words and stuff, if you go to a church and they've been telling you since Sunday school to be obedient, to be good, and you now 50 years old in church and they're telling you to be good and pointing the finger at all the bad people, then in so many words, it keeps your evolution into spirituality and to understanding the universe into a retarded state. It has retarded and impeded on your process of going to a higher level. An impediment to go to the higher level. Because you're learning the same thing that you learned in Sunday school. And it's very little different from it. It might get a little more sophisticated in the particular aspect. You're talking about grown folks now. And you're throwing the black people now, which is prosperity religion. Now you're talking about praying so you can get a Cadillac. Excuse me, it's the 1970s, 1980s. Praying to get a Mercedes or a Lexus. You see what I'm saying? And for some reason, you think that the reason why the person on the street are the people that don't have it, the reason why they don't have it is because they haven't prayed hard enough, or they don't belong to the right church. They don't have the right preacher. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the right preacher. Which it goes to show you that that is a form of inferiority in the particular aspect of a form of historical illiteracy. Because all you have to do is just look at just the history of America, black America, from slavery on up. And there's rarely any black people who don't believe in God and don't pray on the same manner. We must ask this question. Because you have this prosperity stuff now with all these mega preachers, Creflo Dollar, Fred Price, T.D. Jakes. There's one called Bishop Eddie Long down in Atlanta. They got these mega preachers. They're outdoing each other. One of them built a coliseum. Looked like a doggone sports arena to go to church in. Paid $70 million for a coliseum in Crenshaw Boulevard. And since we've been here in the hills of North America, we have never put $70 million in a damn business. But yet this fool gonna put $70 million just in a building. Fred Price gets jealous. He goes and buys him a DC-10. He go buy him an Air Force One. One other Negro preacher goes and buy the Forum in L.A. All the many white people done fought it in them seats. Now they going to church. You see, where did this prosperity ritual come from? And I want to know, well, if it's based on prosperity ritual and it's based on God, you tithing and all this particular money thing, I want to know this particular question. What happened on the first 100 years of you being in the church? On up to from 1865 to 1965 or 1865 to 1985, where you had money for the church and you took up your rallies, but you didn't have all this crazy stuff based on prosperity in that particular aspect. As a matter of fact, people don't understand this. 90% of the preachers now are talking about prosperity And based on how much you tithe, is how much God gonna get back to you, but they're the one that's getting rich. 90% of the preachers are doing this now, and that is the norm in most churches now. But isn't this interesting? Let's go back 30 years ago. 30 years ago, you only had one preacher in America that was signature to that, and that was Reverend Ike. And everybody thought he was a joke. You know what I'm saying? We used to laugh at Reverend Ike when he would talk about, you don't have anything, you don't know what to do with your money, send me your money and I'll know what to do with it. I can do a lot with it. And we was thinking that that was a novelty and somewhat of a joke and could be a form of embarrassment. You know, when we were in our right mind. But now all of a sudden, this is the run of the mill. And this is fashionable with every black preacher. Here goes again, we're getting caught up in things that have nothing to do with spirituality. Real spirituality, the modern world knows very little about it. That is relegated to the European lodges, the metaphysical and occult societies, certain bookstores and certain literature. But as far as the run-of-the-mill people, the masses of the people, both black and white, we don't get any of this on TV, and we certainly don't get it in the church, and we certainly don't get it in the public eye.